Kayla Kemmy is forced into a marriage to repay her father's crippling gambling debt. She runs away in search of freedom, only to be struck by a car in a quiet town. Awakening in a stranger's home. Hello, friends. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments and what time it is. Kayla Kemmy was a 20-year-old college sophomore with dreams as vivid as the paintings she loved to sketch. Her dark skin shimmered in the sun, her eyes deep pools of ambition and quiet resilience. She studied literature at a small liberal arts college in the South, where she wrote poems about freedom, love, and identity, poems that once felt like premonitions of a life she was still shaping. But one rainy afternoon, her world was upended. She found her father, Robert Kemmy, slouched at the kitchen table, hands trembling. Papers lay strewn across the surface, along with a single photograph of a stern-looking man she didn't recognize. The man's name was George Benson, a wealthy businessman in his early 60s, known for his real estate empire and iron-fisted dealings. She stared at the picture, then at her father's tearful eyes. "I'm messed up, baby girl," he whispered. "I borrowed from Benson to open the shop. But I couldn't stop. I kept betting. I thought I could win it back. I just needed one more win." Kayla's stomach twisted. She'd known about her father's gambling, the way he disappeared for days and returned hollow-eyed. But this was something else. "They're going to take everything, or worse," he said. But Benson made an offer. He said if I give him something he wants, he'll clear the debt. Her breath caught. "What does he want?" Her father couldn't meet her gaze. "You." Silence thundered in the room. Her mind reeled. She felt like she was watching someone else's life, someone else's tragedy. She laughed, not from humor, but from disbelief. "You want me to marry him?" "I didn't want this, Kayla, I swear. But it's the only way. I'll go to prison otherwise, and they'll take the house. Everything." Tears welled in her eyes, not just for herself, but for the little girl inside her who used to believe her father could fix anything. Now, he was the one breaking her. "I love you, Dad," she said, voice cracking. "But I'm not a bargaining chip. I have a future, college, dreams. I'm not going to marry someone who could be my father just so you don't face the consequences of your choices." His silence was all the answer she needed. That night, Kayla lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The house felt colder than ever. Her heart ached with betrayal, but also fear. Fear that she might lose everything if she refused, and even more if she accepted. And so she began to write. Not poems this time, but a plan. A way out. Because if there was one thing she still believed in, it was her own power to rewrite the story. That evening, Kayla sat at her desk with trembling fingers, staring at a blank email draft. Her room was dim, lit only by the glow of her laptop screen. The sound of her father moving about downstairs made her chest tighten. She couldn't look at him the same way anymore. Not since he'd offered her as payment. She hadn't seen her mother in 10 years. Kayla was just a child when she watched her mother pack a worn-out suitcase, lips pressed tight and eyes heavy with sadness. "I need to go, Kayla," she had said softly, brushing a stray curl from her daughter's forehead. "But you can always write to me." She scribbled down an email address on a torn piece of paper and pressed it into Kayla's palm like a fragile promise. At 10, Kayla didn't fully understand. She only knew her mother was leaving, and it felt like the world was tilting. That night, she clutched the paper to her chest and cried herself to sleep. Over the years, her mother never returned, but she never disappeared completely either. On her birthday, there would always be a card, sometimes a small gift, a bracelet, a book, a little necklace. Each came with a short email. "Happy birthday, sweetheart. I miss you more than you know." And at Christmas, there would be money wired discreetly. A reminder that someone, somewhere, still cared. Her college education was her mother's doing, too. It had always been her who paid the tuition, sent monthly allowance for books and food. Mr. Kemmy, though physically present, was always broke. His money fed the machines and card tables. Now, with tears in her eyes, Kayla wrote to the woman who had never stopped being her safety net. "Mom, I need your help. Dad's in trouble. He borrowed money from a man named George Benson and can't pay it back. Now, to clear the debt, he wants me to marry him. Mom, he's in his 60s. I don't want this life. I want to stay in school. Please, if you have anything left, help Dad pay it back. Help me." She hit send. The reply came the next morning. "Kayla, my sweet girl. My heart broke reading your message. I've already sent all the money I had for your fees and upkeep. That's everything I had saved over the years. I can't help your father anymore. I'm so sorry. Please, don't do this. You deserve better. Trust yourself. Find your own way out." Kayla stared at the screen, numb at first, then burning with a quiet, growing resolve. Her mother couldn't save her, not this time. But that didn't mean she was going to let herself be sold. 2 days before the wedding, her house felt like a funeral home. Her father mistook her silence for surrender. He looked lighter, even smiled over dinner. "You're doing the right thing," he told her. "You'll be taken care of." But Kayla had other plans. That night she packed a small knapsack, her laptop, a change of clothes, the little bit of cash she had, and a notebook filled with her poems and plans. She slid it under her bed. At 2 a.m., heart pounding, she tiptoed out of her room, eased the front door open, and stepped into the quiet dark. The air was cool, the streets silent. She called a taxi from the corner payphone. She didn't look back as the car pulled away, carrying her toward the next town, and the life she was determined to reclaim. The taxi dropped Kayla off at the edge of a quiet town. She stepped onto the sidewalk, clutching her knapsack tightly, her legs still shaky from the adrenaline that had pushed her out of her old life. Across the street, she spotted a faded sign glowing dimly in the misty air. Townline Motel. Vacancy. Hope stirred. She took a breath and stepped onto the road, glancing both ways. Too quickly. The screech of tires split the silence. Headlights flooded her vision. There was a thud, a jarring impact, then darkness. She awoke to the soft hum of voices and the scent of antiseptic. The ceiling above her was unfamiliar. White, clean, but not a hospital. A nurse leaned over her, adjusting something beside the bed. Next to her stood a tall, strikingly handsome black man with deep brown skin and eyes that radiated concern. "You're awake," he said gently, his voice a calming baritone. The nurse smiled. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" Kayla blinked, disoriented. Where am I?" "You're safe," the man said quickly, taking a step closer. "You were in an accident. I was driving. You stepped into the road. I didn't see you until it was too late. But you're okay. You're in my home now." "Your home?" she murmured. "I'm Josh Stanley. I didn't want to leave you alone at the hospital," he explained. "The motel desk clerk said you didn't check in. You had no ID on you. I stayed with you and brought you here when they cleared you for discharge." Just then, a doctor entered the room, clipboard in hand. He gave her a warm smile and checked her over. "You've got a mild concussion and a sprained ankle, but nothing broken. You're lucky, young lady." Kayla nodded slowly, still trying to gather her thoughts. After the nurse and doctor left, Josh returned with a glass of water and sat beside her. "You were out there alone," he said softly. "Where were you going at that hour?" She hesitated, emotions bubbling up as if they'd been waiting for someone to ask. And then it all came pouring out. Her father's debt, the deal with Mr. Benson, the wedding she was running from, the email to her mother, and the empty reply. The whole twisted story unraveled between them like a fragile thread she'd been holding too tightly for too long. Josh listened silently, his jaw clenched at times, his eyes soft but fierce with empathy. When she finished, Kayla wiped at her eyes, embarrassed. "I didn't know where else to go." "You don't have to run anymore," he said firmly. "You can stay here, as long as you want. You're safe. No one can get to you here." Kayla looked into his eyes, steady, kind, certain, and for the first time in days, she felt like maybe the worst was behind her. For the next month, Josh became Kayla's unexpected sanctuary. His home, a beautiful modern estate just on the edge of town, was surrounded by lush, manicured gardens and quiet woods that gave it an air of peaceful seclusion. It was a stark contrast to the chaos she had fled. Each morning, Josh would knock gently on her door, often with a tray of breakfast, pancakes with fresh fruit, warm muffins, or omelets seasoned to perfection. He always brought her favorite tea, which she didn't even remember telling him she liked. During the day, he helped her navigate the house with her healing ankle, taking her out into the garden where the spring flowers were blooming in full color. They'd sit by the small koi pond, and Kayla would sketch while he read or told her stories about his past. He shared that he'd started out broke, hustling rental properties in his early 20s while living in his car. Over time, he built his way up, flipping houses, making smart investments, and finally landing a breakthrough deal that made him a millionaire. But wealth hadn't made him arrogant. It had made him protective of his peace, his values, and now, seemingly, of her. Kayla felt herself softening around him, her laughter returning piece by piece. At night, they'd sit in the sunroom with jazz playing low in the background, talking about everything from politics to poetry. She told him about her dream to publish a book of her poems, and he listened, really listened. "I think the world needs your voice," he said one night, watching her with that same calm certainty he always carried. "Whatever it takes, I'll help you get there." And for the first time, she believed it might actually be possible. Someone finally saw her as worth saving. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped low over the garden, casting golden light across the patio, Josh sat beside Kayla, his expression gentle but serious. "I need to return to one of my homes in Canada," he said, turning toward her. "Just for a while. Business matters, but I don't want to leave you here alone." Kayla's heart skipped. "You want me to come with you?" "I do," he nodded. "Not because you need me, but because I like having you around. You've brought life into this house. I didn't realize it was missing." She stared at him, emotions clashing inside her. Gratitude, disbelief, fear, and something warmer, more fragile. Hope. No one had ever offered her anything like this, and certainly not with kindness at the center of it. "I don't want to be a complication in your life," she said quietly. "You're not," he said, his voice low and certain. "You're a blessing." Her lips parted in silent surprise, and she felt a tightness in her throat. Slowly, she nodded. Okay, I'll come. Subscribe for part 2. See you next time, and remember, love is free.